freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, Cheryl and Dan Todd here from GunFreedomRadio, coming to you from the 2026 SHOT Show in
fabulous Las Vegas.
See, you're getting good at that. I like how you did that. We love this event. The National Shooting Sports Foundation puts it on every year, and it gives us a chance to connect with old friends and new friends and people doing really important work, whether it's educational advocacy or Project ChildSafe, which brings us to our friend that we get to visit with every time we come here, Bill Romanelli. Welcome to Gun Freedom Radio again.
Thank you very much. And I prefer the term young friend.
There you go.
Old friend. Let's just go with that.
Absolutely. Good and treasured friend
Yeah.
for many, many years, right? That's
right.
what that old meant.
That'll work.
So Bill is an outdoor writer and an avid hunter, angler, and ab diver. He's also the spokesperson on behalf of the NSSF, which is the National Shooting Sports Foundation's Project ChildSafe program, where he works with firearms manufacturers, law enforcement, and conservation groups and gun owners to emphasize the sporting community's commitment to safety. We don't often get that highlighted out there,
That's
right?
correct. Yep.
And so
and it's our own fault, though. We can talk about that a little
I
bit.
like that. Let's
Yep.
start on that point.
Sure. So when you look on a lot of the websites of manufacturers, even a lot of the conservation groups and things like that, they have all kinds of information about shooting and even safe hunting sometimes, but information about firearm safety is woefully absent. You guys are an exception. You guys have actually created a special page on your website about gun safety, and we really appreciate you doing that, and we'd like to see more people do that.
Well, at your behest, and I appreciate the relationship that we have, not just in the industry, but as people, that you can just text me and say, hey, Cheryl, we've got this new program going on or this new initiative, and it's already vetted in my mind because I know who you are.
Right, exactly.
I know who the NSSF is, and I was like, absolutely. And it was just a matter of getting the power players behind the scenes that work the magic on websites,
making things appear on the computer.
Right. But yeah, I was bought in from the minute you said it.
So, Bill, we see that a lot of people think that gun safety is keeping the guns away.
Correct.
Don't even mention guns.
Right.
And that's not how it is.
That's correct.
Because we could everyone could be approached and see a firearm at one time or another, and how to act, how to react to those things like that. So it's really good that you have this program.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. Is there's the fake gun safety out there, which is basically let's just take the guns away, and then there's the real gun safety, and that's why I'm proud to be part of this. I mean, this is the National Shooting Sports Foundation's gun safety program, and your host for the SHOT Show basically designed and implemented this safety program 27 years ago. So it's by gun owners, for gun owners, and it helps us as the gun owning community really own the safety message.
That is fantastic. And if we aren't protecting our children, then what really are we doing with ourselves, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And that is the very reason that I even own guns and carry guns on my person when I'm back in Arizona, is for the safety and protection of life. And my grandchildren are part of that.
Right.
And so if I'm also not being aware that where I store my gun or how I store my gun, or have I taught them the basics for their age, right?
Yep.
About how they can be part of the safety equation. If I'm not doing those things, I'm doing them a disservice, and I'm doing the entire community a disservice. So what is the new thing? What's going on with Project ChildSafe this year?
This year, our big focus is on one of the most common questions we get is how can we be part of this? How can we support Project ChildSafe? And we usually have some answers. So this year, our entire mission is to really communicate. Here are 5 things you can do to help Project ChildSafe this year. And so one is, if you're a gun owner, just an individual gun owner, we urge people to go onto the Project ChildSafe website, projectchildsafe.org, and review the check out our educational materials. We have information on different kinds of gun storage options. We have information on how to talk to your kids about firearm safety. We have so many resources there for gun owners. And I mean, I know you know this too. It's like, I've never yet met a gun owner that wasn't proud of how responsible and safe they are with their firearms.
Exactly.
And so let's also be ambassadors for that, okay? Let's talk to our kids. I was just talking to Lars Larson earlier today, and we were talking about, teaching kids, and you're right, age appropriate, but even when my kids, were, fairly young, and they wanted to see the gun, I would show the gun. They wouldn't touch it. I would hold it, but so many of us grew up, the safety lesson we got from our parents was, if you touch this gun, I'll kill you. Right?
Exactly.
Right. But to your point, and you said it very well, make them part of the safety discussion. And so I would literally, open the chamber and say, okay, the chamber looks clear, there's no bullet there. And I would show it to my kid. Is the chamber clear? Make them part of the, and then that just wires their brain in such a way. So, but again, a lot of resources out there for the individual gun owners. If you're an association, or you run a conservation group, or a shooting club, or a hunting organization, anything like that, from the local level all the way up to national, we have a supporters page. We call it our supporters hub, with information you can use to be an ambassador for gun safety out in our community. Much like Cheryl and Danny making their own, we have all the resources to create your own website or your own web page. We've got everything you need, but there's other kinds of tools and resources, and we really want people to be, help join us in being champions for gun safety, and show that the gun owning community really is the leading voice on that.
I absolutely love that. I'm part of Women for Gun Rights, and so we have state directors in each state, and I forget which one of our state directors it was reached out, but she said in the last however long, there have been 3 incidences where children have accidentally shot other children, whether it was a sibling or a friend, and what can we do about it? And I was so proud to be able to immediately direct her to Project ChildSafe and all of the resources you have there, because then instead of just feeling crushed and grieving for these families, she felt empowered that she can now offer people in her sphere of influence, look, this is what we should be doing for that next family, right? Forget about whether you love guns or hate guns or what law you like or don't like. This is something you can do today together as a family. Watch one of these videos, start implementing these things.
Absolutely, you bet. And we even have a little, it's like a certificate. It's like the 4 rules of gun safety that parents and kids can go through together. And then once they've talked through everything, the kids sign it and the parents sign it, and then they have something they can frame for their room. And it's like, if you're 6, 7 years old, you love that stuff, right? And so, that's a big part of what we offer for families.
Well, and one of the tragedies that my friend shared with me was one of those situations where the adult even had said, no, the gun is empty.
Oh, geez.
No, there wasn't, because as you said, you showed your child the chamber.
Right.
So often there is one in the chamber, even when the magazine is removed. And that's exactly what happened. And so even we adults can use this information to freshen our own minds.
That's right. And I like to tell people, and I say this quite a lot, it's like, it's not like the rules of gun safety are complicated. And that's actually part of the problem, because they're so easy to remember and they're so simple. We get complacent sometimes. Like I'm sure there's no bullet in the jar. I know it's not supposed to point it in the wrong way. I'm sure it's empty, and then you get complacent. That's why we just want to, we just need to say the rules out loud. So I'm pointing the gun in the safe direction. The chamber is empty. This is a tool, not a toy. All those kinds of things.
Absolutely. And I know that on the website, the videos that you have produced and put out there, they are high quality. They are very watchable,
professional grade,
and very shareable. And so often in this space, it seems like the messaging's a little dorky, right? The video's not exactly well done, and it makes it harder to feel proud to share it with your community, especially if it's somebody that maybe isn't super gun friendly. Then they're just like, well, what would I expect from, you know what I mean?
Well, let me assure everybody, this is not corporate harassment training.
Exactly. I'm talking about dorky and grainy videos.
Right,
Yes, exactly.
right. Uh-huh.
No, very good messaging, well presented, high quality. You can be very proud.
Well, thank you. And I want to emphasize to that point, one of our biggest audiences is people who don't own guns. There's a lot of people out there who, for whatever reason, choose not to own a gun. And that's fine, but you still need to teach your kids about that. It's like, would you rather them learn that from you, or from TV, movies, and video games, or from their friends?
Yes.
So we're really trying to emphasize, even if you don't own guns, these are resources that are still important to you and the safety of your family.
Bill, it's just like, you teach your kids to swim, even if you don't have a pool, because your next door neighbor has a pool.
That's right.
And so if they fall in the pool, then they can learn to swim out of it.
Right.
But that is the problem. And so some people are so afraid of a gun, they think that keeping their kids away from any images, any type of gun is going to save them, and it's not.
And the biggest problem we have with, sorry, go ahead.
No, because they will, at one time or another, come across a gun.
That's right. And the biggest problem we have with that is when you start trying to talk to schools and educators. It's like you talk to any teacher out there, especially where I'm from in California. It's like, what do you think about drugs? Well, we need to educate kids. What do you think about sex? Well, we need to educate kids. What do you think about guns? We should never talk about them. And it's just so backward.
Disconnect.
Yeah, they think it'll go away.
Yeah.
And it won't.
Right.
And that's what we see. And just teaching a kid, or just teaching. When I was a kid, my dad said, if you find a gun, take it apart, clean it, and put it back. We were well versed on guns when we were kids.
Sure.
Love that.
And it is super important. But people think that if the magazine's out of a gun, that it can't fire.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine has a gun shop. I go to his shop and he's got a coffee cup, and these are guns that came in unloaded.
Yeah.
It's full of ammo.
Oh my gosh.
And
From
when
the unloaded guns.
Right.
I bring
that
guns
weren't.
into our auction house, I check them at the house, I check them when they go into the building, and my guys check them, and it's just a thing you do.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's hard. People get relaxed with that, I guess.
That's
I don't
it.
know.
That's just,
But,
like I said, they get complacent. They
that's
just
like, would you
assume they've
drive
done the
down
right thing already.
Would you drive down the freeway 100 miles an hour and close your eyes for 10 minutes?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so
Nope.
Well, on that point of, when people feel like, well, the only answer is X, right? Well, we're hearing a lot of noise around the nation. People want to implement legislation for forcing us to have safe storage or gun storage, however they phrase it. And when we're doing our part, when we're educating ourselves, our families, and our children, and storing the gun safely, willingly on our own,
Yep.
it gives the other side of that argument so much less ammunition, to pardon, right?
As it were, yes,
Right?
exactly.
So much less that they even can talk about, because we're saying, no, we're already dealing with, in the firearms industry, with the suicide issue. We're already dealing with, I know I'm holding the microphone over there, with the safe storage issue, and we're taking that responsibility for ourselves. We don't need Big Daddy government to reach into our homes and
That's right.
tell us how to do that and what to do.
Right, and so how are they going to enforce that? They start knocking on doors saying we need to check your guns? I mean, that's just not going to happen. But to your point, and as we've been saying for, how many years, we as the gun owning community, we have that responsibility.
Absolutely.
Not only should we be doing that voluntarily because it's the right thing to do, but we should be championing it.
Yes.
So that we don't need, you're part of Armed Women America. I know their motto is education, not legislation. I mean, it's case in point on safe storage.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You said Armed Women of America, which is another amazing group, but Women for Gun Rights.
Women for gun rights.
But
sorry.
yes, no, that's exactly fine, and we work very closely with Armed Women of America, so definitely let's check them out as well. But you're exactly right that education is the key to safety. You're never going to legislate somebody smarter.
Correct.
You're never going to legislate somebody more responsible.
That's right.
And so I love the initiative you have with Project ChildSafe. I love the platform, the programming. How do we do a better job, just as we close out, of telling our own accomplishments that we are doing this work?
Right. One of the best ways to do that is, you kind of have to look at the research, right? If you look at the statistics, Project ChildSafe was launched 27 years ago. If you look at the numbers on the fatal firearm accidents over that time, it has reached historic lows. Now, it does tend to go up and down.
Sure.
Certainly during COVID when, it was just a rough time for everybody. And so there was that going on. But you also have to be a little bit careful about statistics because some people think, a 26-year-old is a child. Some people think suicide is gun violence, and so there's, you have to be careful at that station. But the fact of the matter is this program works. We know that because we have so much demand. Demand is outpacing our supply of free gun locks, and I think that's something we haven't talked about. But we give away millions of gun locks every year.
Awesome.
And demand is outpacing supply by 4 or 5 to 1. So if this program wasn't working, people wouldn't be asking for those locks. So we know it's doing it. So we definitely want to talk about the success it's had, about the demand for it, but really it's really about the education. And the more we as the gun owning community can champion that message, we're going to make our homes safer, we're going to make our neighborhoods safer, and we're going to make our community safer.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all that you're doing and for taking the time every SHOT Show to sit down with Gun Freedom Radio.
One of my favorite parts of SHOT Show.
Me too. It would not be SHOT if we didn't get to do this. Tell folks how they can tap into all of those resources we've been talking about.
Just go straight on to projectchildsafe.org. And then there's a tab for educational materials. There's a tab for bringing Project ChildSafe to your community. And just ask everybody to log on there, take a look around, and use those materials and share them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, stick around because there's lots more coming up from 2026 SHOT Show.